Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas on Tuesday, February the 20th. Welcome to our video commentary. Today, we're going to recall something that happened on this day 46 years ago, if you can believe it. So, if you're under 30, under 40, maybe even under 50, you're not going to remember this. But it was on this day in 1972 that or this week actually, in 1972, that President Nixon landed in China and made incredible history when the first American president made a visit to China. Now, the visit itself took about a year and a half of negotiations, and for quite some time, Secretary of State Kissinger was going back and forth, all of this in secret, going back and forth with the Chinese, and I think under the understanding that the visit would be called off if it became public. So there was like utter secrecy on both sides. But Secretary Kissinger was negotiating everything, and finally, in late 1971, the announcement was made that President Nixon would go to China. And it was really an amazing moment for those of us who remember it. Now, you have to understand that in February 1972, you had basically three television networks in the United States. There may have been PBS, but I don't think they had a news network. So it was basically ABC, CBS, and ABC, CBS, NBC, the ones that you're familiar with. So that was it. And shows like the Today Show, for example, became prominent in bringing this information to the American people. And, the idea of Air Force One landing in China and President Nixon got out of the plane. I mean, the whole thing was historic, to say the least. And it proved to be, in many ways, a brilliant move by President Nixon, because he was able to accomplish an important geopolitical success story between, in a sense, recognizing China as a nemesis of the USSR. The question is, 46 years later, how do we look at it? And it's interesting to me how the debate about China has changed. Back in 1972, I think everybody was focusing on the political or geopolitical, as they like to say, advantages of it. But I don't remember anybody back then talking about the fact that China would become a manufacturing powerhouse with an expanding army and an expanding navy. And that may very well be the consequence of that move. Again, that was not the way it was presented or the way I think most people saw it. But in reality, that's what's happened. China today is a huge manufacturing powerhouse, a huge economy, second to the United States, and judging by their military expansion and the expansion of their Navy and Air Force and everything else, obviously they're interested in being more than just a place for cheap manufacturing. So all of this started this week in 1972. The actual recognition of China, the actual diplomatic relations of China did not really happen until 1978, when President Carter agreed to diplomatic relations. But the actual opening of China, what they like to call the opening of China, began this week in 1972. Now, this trip to China created one of the great political phrases of American politics, and that is the Nixon to China moment. And the reason it created that is because nobody expected Richard Nixon, an anti-communist, to make this move. So the fact that he was willing to go against his party and some of the right-wing elements of his party to make this move created this very popular phrase called the Nixon to China moment. And that's when a politician actually does something unexpected, or when he goes against the base of his own party to do something that he believes is in the good of the country. Well, as I say, 46 years later, it seems like we're talking a lot more about the economy than we're talking about anything regarding that visit to China. But it was amazing. It was amazing to watch it. It was amazing to watch it on television, as I had the chance to do 46 years ago this week. Have a wonderful day, everybody. We have all of these commentaries in YouTube. We have them in Tweet, and we also have them on my blog. I'm still fighting allergies, as you could tell, but hey, we're struggling. We're struggling, but we're getting by. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.